Bunny just finished his walkabout. I give Mimi a bath. Thank you for the support in the last video I made talking about being discouraged and my dreams. It really does help to like the videos. If you enjoy the videos we're making, like the video. It really helps the channel. Leave a comment. Anything that's on your mind. If you really enjoy it, it really helps to like and leave a comment. Just so you know. It makes a difference. So, in the last video I was talking about this thing of how sometimes I'll see videos of Aurora performing, and it will really get me into the space of like, I really want for us to be performing to people and getting to share our gifts with people. And how it can drive me to a feeling like I'm going crazy. I must film the boy. Hi boy, you were gone for an hour and a half, my sweetness. Okay, so sorry, I'm just really distracted by what happened. Anyway, this experience that we had playing at Udara the other day was just the most epic and amazing, the most beautiful space we've ever played in, hands down, in 15 years together, right? And I want us to be able to perform there on a regular basis. I want us to be able to actually be paid by the space so we can get work visas and we can perform there on a regular basis, right? Because that for me would be so fabulous to have that ability to do that. Because then we'd be able to, you know, share our work with people in this beautiful optimal space and have that ability to do that on a regular basis and be paid and be supported and have people actually see us playing in this way. It's just, it would be a dream come true. And so when we got back, we actually got to see our friend Anya as well, who's just an amazingly lovely being and beautiful singer and, you know, just a great person. And we got to sing with her in the space as well. We haven't seen her in months, you know. Actually, we haven't seen her since, like, November or December when we first came here. So, so ever since then, it's now, what day is it? I don't remember, Wednesday. So I contacted this place and saying that we would like to talk to the management, we would like to talk to the owners and talk about how we could be able to perform there regularly and actually be paid so we can do this on a regular basis and so we can actually get work visas, because work visas are expensive. They're not worth it unless you're really employed by a space here. And that's really what work visas are for, is they're for, even for performers, they really are for getting employed and having a job, which we would be very particular about working at a space and being employed, because we would want to do things in our own way. We wouldn't be able to be controlled by people. We want to do it in our own way, so it's, even if that was the dream was accomplished and we actually were able to play in the space and be paid and be promoted and have work visas and all of that, it would still be complicated to get there. It would be hard. It's an hour away. It's an hour-long trip south and then an hour back. The trip is about $30 to get there and back, which isn't that bad, but it's not worth it for us to be paying that money to go back and forth. So we would have to, you know, we'd have to be employed. We'd have to really be, and at the time when I was first interacting with them about saying that we would like to be able to perform there, they were very clear about we're not looking for outside people to hire. We have our own sound healing team, which we met. We actually met all of the people who are on that team. And they're all kids. They're just Indonesian kids. They're like in their 20s. And they actually know Thoth, which is funny. They've seen him on TikTok and all of that from his performances that he's given. And on his walkabouts that he's done, which is really interesting. So he's kind of he's kind of famous to them, which is really cute. They were quite, and because we sang for them a bit, and they were really impressed, of course. And basically, just after we had played there by ourselves for an hour, and we'd gone up again and sung with Anya there, we came back down, and they were just going up to do a sound healing session for a bunch of people. And as I was in the space, like leaving the space, there were about 10 people that were going upstairs. And this one woman said to me, "Oh, wow, you look so amazing. Are you getting paid for this? You know, are you getting paid to do this?" And as she was passing by, I was like, that would be nice. And because it's hard for me to know that. It reminds me of in the past that people would say to me, are you guys famous, or are you guys doing any shows anywhere? When we would be busking, that's what people would say to us. Actually, even 15 years ago when we were in Lisbon playing, people would ask us that. They'd say, "Are you guys famous?" When we were playing on Rua Garet. And that was really hard for me, because it's like, no, we're not famous. No, nobody knows who we are. No, we don't have any attention for our work, and we're just kind of grinding away trying to figure things out as best we can. And it was really tough. And it's the same in the last several months. Somebody wrote on Instagram or something like, the Met is really missing out on commissioning you guys to write an opera. And I remember going round and round in circles, going crazy, trying to figure out how that might be possible for us. And of course it's not possible, because the Met is a very prestigious thing, and unless you're a prestigious artist and you're very famous, you're not going to be hired or commissioned to do anything there, because nobody knows who we are. We're not well known in any sense. We don't even, Thoth has a Wikipedia article, and actually it reminds me of when we were when we were living in San Francisco with our friend John. I remember talking about that to him and saying, why is it that Thoth has a Wikipedia and I don't, or we don't, as our work together doesn't? And he said, well, once you do something significant, then you will. And it really hurt me at the time, because we've been doing something significant for over a decade, right? Performing. But I was looking at the other day, after I posted these videos of us performing at Udara, and this beautiful resonant space and this optimal, perfect space for us to sing in, I was looking through our Instagram posts, and most of the videos that I share are us singing in public, or me singing in a little cafe, or Thoth doing these walkabouts or whatever. And that's because we don't have access to spaces. And especially now, we don't have access to like a venue, because we don't have work visas, and you have to, even if you're going to do something for free. And I remember when I first contacted Udara and said, could we do performances here? And they said, because you don't have work visas, you can't do anything, even if it's for free. So, and back in March, when we first moved here, and I was deciding between getting retirement visas or getting work visas, we were in touch with our friends at the School of Unified Healing that had really amazing acoustic space. And they said, they said, would you like to have a weekly class here on Tuesdays or Wednesdays or whatever? And we said, yeah, that'd be great. But they said, do you have work visas? And we're like, no, why do we need to have work visas to do something for free? And they said, well, in order for us to have a class for you that we promote, it doesn't matter if it's free, you have to have work visas. And I was like, well, we don't have work visas, and we're not going to get work visas just to do things for free here. So that's because they're so anal, and they're so... Hello, Wyan. Is that Wyan? In order to do anything here, we have to have a work visa, which is really expensive, and it's like $4,000 for 2 years for two of us. So so it doesn't make any sense to do it, and so it's the same with Udara, where we'd have to get work visas in order to do anything there, and but I really would like to talk to the staff and talk to people there about them actually employing us in order for us to have a reason to get work visas. Because it just doesn't make any sense to pay a bunch of money to, like, maybe do something somewhere. Anyway, so that's where we are with it. And I messaged the person who was our kind of guide into the space. She was this really lovely, sweet German woman who's some manager of some kind, and she showed us into the space and sat with us when we sang, and she got to listen to us. She and our driver were the only ones listening. And so I contacted her and I said, thank you so much for welcoming us and being kind, and we really love playing there and we want to do this. And I told her what I want, and she said, thank you for your message. I'm sending this over to the management team. So I don't know what's going to happen, of course, but it's not necessary for us to have any kind of job or anything here. So it's like, that's the only place we'd really want to play here. But again, it would still be complicated even if we got employed, even if we made it happen. We'd still have to travel back and forth. We'd have to leave Mimi with someone, because the last time we were there on Sunday, we were gone for 5 hours, and we left her home alone, which is really hard. I don't like leaving her alone. Yes, baby. So, but it's interesting how, and then somebody in the last video when I was talking about that I would like us to reach more people. I would like us to be able to play for more people and sing into people's eyes and all of that. And someone said, I'm curious, would you compromise on your vision in order to reach more people, in order to play for more people? And I said, no, I won't. And I know this about myself. We've never been even offered anything in the last 16 years of performing. We've not even been offered anything in regards to, being even given the chance to compromise on anything. No one's ever said, hey, I'll hire you to be in Cirque du Soleil if you guys sing our music and you don't sing your own music. It's not like we've even had a chance to consider that, because nobody's been interested in us in that way. And whenever anybody has been interested, it's been having us do our own thing and not having us do their thing, because we've always been clear we're not going to do anybody else's music. We actually had maybe 10 years ago or so in which we had an opportunity, sort of, in which there was a producer in Florida. Her name was Bunny, actually. We never met her. We never ended up doing anything with her. But over the years, she tried to hire us for things in Florida, in Miami, or in Orlando or something, where she was doing interesting opera, immersive theater things. And I think she knew Thoth from decades prior, and she was always trying to get us involved in things. But there was one point in which she tried to get us to do an opera, in which the music itself had been written by some hoity-toity person who was some kind of professor at a university or something, and the music was so pretentious and so just boring and not even very nice sounding. And she wanted us to sing that music. And we wrote back right away and said, we're not singing anybody else's music. If you would like us to do an opera, then you can hire us to write the music ourselves and perform it ourselves. That's what we would do. But we're not going to sing anybody else's music. There were times in the past when I was younger, before I met Thoth, in which I might have been able to go off on a path in which I was singing really unusual alternative music and being in interesting experimental theater and experimental opera, and that people were writing stuff for me. That could have been a path that I took, or that I was doing experimental or alternative versions of of certain operas or musicals that I love, in which I was allowed to be totally myself and play Gilda in Rigoletto, or play play Joanna in Sweeney Todd, but be allowed to totally be myself. That would have been a path I might have followed. But that requires a lot. Like, you really have to be very well known in that industry in order to be hired to play roles and do them uniquely, you know. So that might have been a path, but again, that takes a lot of, you'd have to be very recognized in order for that to happen. But I could, or playing the Queen of the Night, getting to sing the Queen of the Night and being able to be my fabulous, unique self while doing that role, and not have to dress up like something else or be something else. So, yeah, but, so it's very interesting right now in this moment in time to feel that we're as close to having a space to play in that we've always dreamed of playing in, that we've ever wanted to play in. It's like a spaceship, basically, and I feel like we're the aliens that are supposed to be playing in that space, and yet it's so complicated to make it happen, to make that dream come true, you know. It's complicated. If we were able to agree, if we were even able to, like, have a conversation with the management or with the owner about the possibility of doing that there, that they would even agree to let us do it as much as we wanted to, that they would agree to pay us as much as was necessary to make it worth it for us. And then we would have to apply for work visas, and we'd have to leave the country and come back again to change our visa from the retirement visa to the work visa. So even if it did work out, which it's more likely that they'll just say no, or they won't even respond, because again, it's us wanting that, it's me wanting that for us. They don't really care. The woman who I got in touch with initially, and she was very keen to say, you know, we're not looking for anybody to hire outside of our own staff. You'll have 1 hour and 1 hour only, and but I'm glad we went, and it was totally worth it. Whatever happens beyond that, I can't expect anything. But it's hard because it feels like we're as close to that dream happening as we ever have been, and it's still so far away because it's complicated. And Udara is an establishment. It is a hotel. It is a resort, and it is an organization that is controlled by people, you know. So we have to have permission, and we have to have support, and we have to have, they have to condone us and sanction us in that space. And it's not worth it for us to, example, just drive there once a week and with our own money and sing there for a little bit on our own. It's nice, but it's definitely not something that's worth it in the long term. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I am grateful that I'm in contact with somebody who we met there, who was really kind and is willing to help us in some way. But if that happened, it would really change our lives. It would be pretty amazing.